Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, when he was attacked inside of prison. Now, as I said yesterday, I was going to do a cold case file on the Yorkshire Ripper, letting you all know that these type of prison justice has been happening for decades. From the dawn of prison times, these type of offenders have come under attack from the other prisoners. Now, I think we all familiar with who Peter Sutcliffe is, the Yorkshire Ripper. He went on a killing spree in the 70s through into the 80s. He killed 13 women, but that beast, he's a proper bacon wrong'un. He admitted to raping one of his victims, and the rest of his victims, he used to mutilate them in a despicable, horrid manner by mutilating their body parts and using objects, screwdrivers, wooden legs, different things to insert into his victims, and he was an absolute horrid, despicable wrong'un. And that is exactly why he got prison justice, which I will go into in a moment. But like I said, for those 13 murders that he committed and everything else that he'd done to his poor victims before he murdered them and after he'd actually murdered them when he went on to mutilate them in the most horrid way, he was actually given initially 13 concurrent life sentences. Concurrent means you get one life sentence and the others run concurrent, meaning it doesn't mean jack shit. So he was given 13 concurrent life sentences with a minimum of 30 years. But it then got increased to 35 years. And he was jailed in 1981, and the 30-year minimum term would have been up in 2011, and this is when he went on to appeal against his sentence. He went to the appeal courts trying to get released because, like I said, the 30 years that he got initially was up, but he's went to the appeal courts. It had already been put up to a minimum of 35. If he was still doing the original 30, he would have been eligible for parole in 2011. And in 2010, he took it to the appeal court, to the High Court, for a finite sentence to be established because the actual 35 hadn't been legally finite established. So on this article that I have looked up, because I've done a bit extensive research into this to get the true fact, it says, however, the High Court rejected his bid and instead imposed a whole life tariff in July 2010. This legally ensured he would spend the rest of his natural life in custody, a ruling that was upheld by the Court of Appeal in 2011. So that would have been a fucking absolute victory for his victims' families. That would have been a right kick in his bollocks for him, thinking that 2011 he's done that minimum tariff that was sanctioned 30 years, so he's thinking, oh, he's got a chance of getting out. But luckily, they gave him life without parole, so that wrong'un never got out. And he did die from, initially it was in Franklin Prison when he contracted COVID-19, and he ended up in Durham University Hospital, and on November the 13th, 2020, at the age of 74, he snuffed it and was no more. So an inquest confirmed that Sutcliffe died from a combination of COVID-19, heart disease, and diabetes. Now, that was the only good thing. That come from that fucking I was going to say C19, COVID-19, same thing, was that horrid man refusing treatment, refusing isolation, refusing everything what I've read up on, refusing the shield, and due to his own arrogance, the absolute wrong'un, died from COVID-19. So, as the majority of you who will be well aware about Sutcliffe, lost an eye in an attack inside of prison. Well, it wasn't prison, theoretically. It was actually inside of a mental institution, Broadmoor Hospital. So, here we go, people getting down to the nitty-gritty. So, the attacker, the specific incident where he lost his sight, occurred in March 1997 at Broadmoor Hospital. Now, Broadmoor Hospital has had a lot of incidents inside of there. A lot of the time, it's bacon on bacon, ex-offender on ex-offender, and apart from when Maudsley, but the other person that Robert Maudsley was with was actually a fucking bacon. Robert Maudsley and the other fella, I think it was Cheeseman, got another fella in a pad, took him hostage, kidnapped him, and murdered him brutally. And that was one of the ones, well, that was the start of Robert Maudsley's bacon bashing. Obviously, he went on to Wakefield and killed another two, inside that prison. He did try to kill more, but altogether he had 4 victims. But getting back to Sutcliffe, the weapon that was used against him was a pen described as a rollerball, and Sutcliffe was approximately stabbed 10 times in one eye. He was making sure. The attacker, Ian Key, I'm not sure exactly what he was in for. He was a convicted murderer, obviously a nutcase as well because he's in Broadmoor, but he made sure Sutcliffe was losing that. I'm surprised he didn't do 5 in each eye, but he did leave him blind in one eye. He was completely blinded in his left eye, while his right eye was also severely damaged. Surgery eventually restored some vision in it, so he was stabbed in both eyes then. So Ian Keel later told doctors that he intended to kill Sutcliffe because he deserved what happened to him for murdering 13 women. And this is exactly what I'm on about prison justice. It goes all the way back to then when he was first attacked. 1997 that one was, but he was actually attacked previously. He was a frequent target for other inmates throughout his imprisonment. In 1983 in Parkhurst, which Parkhurst was another maximum security prison, James Costello slashed his face with a broken coffee jar requiring 30 stitches. So he was walking about prison looking like a fucking diced up kipper. No eye, face fucking coffee jarred up. 1996, Paul Wilson attempted to strangle him with a headphone cord inside of HMP Broadmoor. So he's had his fair share of attacks. 2007, Patrick Serrata attempted to blind Sutcliffe's remaining good eye with a piece of cutlery, but only caused a minor facial cut. So imagine that if he did actually take his other eye out and he had to fucking patrol round the wards or round the prisons, blinded. That would have been a bonny sight for him. Or maybe he's not. A big black hole, that's all he would have seen. But those are the attacks that happened on Sutcliffe. And obviously when he got up into HMP Frankland, he was getting on into his 60s, I think he was when he first went there. But this is what I've stated in previous videos. The reason why, nicknamed Monster Mansion, because he is an absolute monster. Huntley is an absolute monster. Levi Belfield is an absolute monster. All of these wrong'uns were in that prison at the same time together. But the Yorkshire Ripper, like I've just stated, was getting on. He was blinded in one eye. They put him up, the screws and the governors put him on ear wing so that he wouldn't be attacked anymore. Ear wing, like I've stated in previous videos, is the wing where they put these high profile beasts. Yes, these ones are the worst because these are the ones that are the most known, but there is pure wrong'uns that have done despicable crimes against little ones, hundreds of them inside of HMP Franklin. And Wakefield is the original Monster Mansion. Yes, we know the original Monster Mansion, but Franklin has become known as that because of the ones I've just stated. And the video I done yesterday on Wayne Cousins, the morgue monster, David Fuller, who is an absolute fucking wrong'un beast. These are all housed together. You would not want to imagine what conversations happen during association time when 5 or 6 of these are all around the table or in a pad together, drinking the cuppers. Yuck, I would not fucking like to think what goes on inside of those types of wings. Absolute wrong'uns butchering each other. Yuck. But yes, I just thought I would bring you that one, people, because I did mention it in yesterday's video. And I thought, right, I'm going to do a cold case on this absolute beast and let you all know about these attacks. He has been attacked on other occasions where he's been battered a few times, but these are the attacks what have been the most severe, apart from the latter one where he only had minor cuts on his remaining good eye. But he has had a lot of prison justice throughout his sentence. Same as Roy Whiting, he's been done quite a few times. They've tried to take his life a few times because he is a despicable beast. One of the worst as well. Killed little Sarah Payne. Absolute wrong. And that's another one that you remember vividly, them type of cases. Sarah Payne, when she went missing, that absolute monster chucked her in the back of his van, took her away and murdered her. But he has been attacked quite a few times. I've covered a couple of times on here. There was one most recently, if I remember rightly, his second name was Lighton, and he tried to take his life. Gary Vinter has also tried to take his life, and I might do an updated video on that and tell you about all the attacks that he has suffered. So if you are enjoying it, people, hit that notification bell so you do not miss another video. And if you are still enjoying the content, people, remember to comment, like and subscribe. But if there is any videos that you would like me to cover of any of these beasts inside of prison who's had prison justice or who is due it, because there is quite a few coming up in the coming years who are going to be getting their comeuppance. But I'll leave that one there for now, people. Remember to stay safe, people. Watch what you're doing. Have a good weekend.